administration, I had the opportunity to meet Grandmaster Professor Dr. Moses Powell, as well as so many Little John Davis, and those two people changed my life. So from there, I was able to start studying jiu-jitsu, which is super cool. And wow, it's just so much to it. But being able to travel with Doc at age, I guess I turned 17, and he took me on an international tour. Well, not international, but Caribbean tour. Then we started traveling international along with so many Little John. So I was kind of like a baby, and then I became somewhat of a sparring partner, even though I was getting my butt when I was learning from so many Little John. And but I just continued my training. I can't eat the whole thing of it. I got from there to, but I continued my training, and it was my ability that I was here doing what I do now.
Okay. Well, that's excellent. In terms of your training, you're doing a lot of different things right now, and you have a number of students and masters. Well, you know, you've been in this for how many years?
I've been doing this, it's unbelievable, about over 65 years I've been involved. Now, being involved and being actively involved is two different things. You can start at a point and then stop at another point, and then get to a certain point and say, well, I'm doing this or this. I mean, I've been active as long as from 3 years old. I never stopped. I may not have been doing almost all that I'm doing now, but I continue to train. As a teenager, I continued to train. As a young adult, I continue to train. And now, in my later years, because I'm 69 years old, so it's been a little more than 65 years, but you know, it's interesting. Yeah.
So in all of this time that you've been training, you've taught hundreds and probably thousands of students, right? Okay, and you have, and some of your students have become masters. So what is the difference between teaching the student, underbelly student, and teaching a master, and then kind of take that further from you?
Well, it's been an honor, privilege, and a pleasure to be able to inspire others, whether they become masters or whether they just have learned certain aspects of the martial arts and they've taken it into whatever profession or endeavor that they chose to late in life, doctor or police officer or whatever. But I've trained people literally all over the world. In many cases, I never met them because I was one of the first. Actually, as far as I know, I'm the only black martial artist that was one of the featured artists on Panther Production back in the days, right? I can't think of anyone else, but I did a series of videos at that time, and they went worldwide because they used to, what's the word I'm looking for? Say that again?
Distribute.
Yeah. But they would advertise the videos in the magazine and at different functions. And when it was in Japan, people would come up to me, I'm from Italy, and I have all these videos. I even had Japanese food, and they, sugar, like that. And I'm like, okay. And where you from? We're from Okinawa and blah, 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 blah. We have your videos. I'm like, really? Yeah, and they would tell me the dojo they have. I can't remember the name and stuff. But and people from all over would come up to me and say, we saw your videos, and then performing on Wide World of Sports 8, 9, 10 times, being on national TV, performing in front of millions, full crowd, the full audience at Madison Square Garden, doing shows in El Paliento, which is a big arena in Venezuela, or a big arena in Trinidad, Complex, or the Los Angeles Arena. there's so many places. It's amazing. As I think back, all the things that I've been able to achieve, not pat myself on the shoulder, but giving all the praise and glory to the Creator for the opportunity to have done what I've done thus far and still moving forward. So it's so much I can't do all of it. Well, I can, but I can't tell you all of it right now. Yes.
Yes. So,
Let me say this. I'm sorry. My mission right now, even though I'm martial arts, millions of martial artists have been influenced by what I do, and people learning from what I do. Right now, my main focus is to help people to become more health conscious, so they can live a healthier life, and that's one of my main focuses.
hey, that's wonderful. Now, to go back a little bit to masters, okay? You're now a masters, right?
Yes.
So kind of talk to me about that aspect of training masters. What is the difference in the training of a master and training someone underbelts?
Well, first of all, it's on a higher level. They should have a better understanding of the become sensei, master, kanji, or whatever particular rank title is. But they should be in shape not only physically, they should be prepared mentally, psychologically, emotionally, not only for themselves, but to be able to help to guide others when they're dealing with whatever problems of the world they may be dealing with. But it's a high level techniques, more depth. For instance, you can't really take the average white belt and show them, that's right, take down. A lot of people, because they're not on that level, they're just learning their basics about strikes stance. But a master means that, I think, first and foremost, that you master yourself. To a degree, master your emotions. To a degree, master your energy to be positive. And I think that's one of the most important aspects. But it's a higher level of learning in general. Just like on a basic level, you say a white belt would be doing kata number 1, or first form, whatever you may call it. As they advance and become sensei or master, then they should have all the forms down pat. They should be on, you know what I'm saying? Yes. On a higher level. But as far as my teaching, when I teach the master classes, I'm teaching as far as the physical aspect, first and foremost, that you got to be in shape. You can know 15 million techniques, but if you're not in shape, and you do 2 or 3 techniques, you burn out on the street. It's not going to work like that. Because if you find one wrong person and you have to deal with it, you run out of there. And there's always 6 parts in your life insurance, and that's what Muhammad Ali told years ago. But it's a done deal. Just like you see a fight, he's winning. And then all of a sudden, it's winning down, he's getting beat. Bam. So that's one person who's in shape physically. Right? And then, to continue, develop your skills. You can do it. You can just, whatever the technique is, repetitions, 40, 50 times, but you're in shape. So you gotta be in shape, first and foremost. And you gotta be in shape here. Because if you give up and you're not committed, you're not dedicated, and you're like tired, you have to give up, then it's a done deal. Yes. I got so much going on here. Keep me informed there. Keep me informed. Oh, yeah. Oh, man. People out there surfing. Anyway, yeah. Yo, let me another Coco Loco, all right?
wasn't heard or we didn't hear.
Oh yeah, well, I remember one time I was at a tournament and Doc, he wasn't into tournaments, but I think we were going to be doing a demonstration there. So I fought in the tournament and I won. But Doc, that was the first time I ever seen him sit on the panel to become a referee. So he's not the center of it, he's the corner judge or whatever you call it. Never been to a tournament so long, you know what I'm talking about. And so Doc calls and says, "Point!" And this Oriental instructor, I don't remember his name, but he said, I was getting ready to hit him. Because he said, you don't know karate, you sit down and you be quiet. Boy, Doc, man, I was going to run and try and hit the guy, but the next thing I know, Doc had him, and I swear he grabbed his tie and had this man up in the air with one hand. So let me tell you something. And it was like people trying to come in, but they didn't want to, interfere. So I was like, should I stop this? But I think one of the old instructors, maybe Grandmaster Peter Irvin or whoever, they let the guy down his eyes. His like his tie had choked him, so it was like his head had swollen up, eyes popped out. And Doc, he walked off. He said, "Man, you lucky. You lucky." And I was like, oh man, that was crazy. So as I walked by the instructor too, I did this. Yeah, So I walked off with Doc, and that was a crazy story. So me, Little John, and I, it was Panama or Mexico. We went into this place to get a juice, and it's like when we walked in, it's like when you walk in the saloon. And then as we walked in, it was like, like the gun swinging, coming into it. So everybody was like, sure you want to get something here, sensei, sensei there. It's like, yeah. So we walk in, these guys, they start, like, I don't know what they said. What's that? Where you doing? Where you want? Type thing. So, So, it was like, oh man, it's going to get good. So we looked in, I'm looking at tables, we jumped on things to do, exits to make when necessary. And, so he looks at me, I look at him. So he turns that way, I turn that way. Like, yeah, is there a problem? So he was like in that posture. So it's probably about 12 of them in there. And they looked like they were ready to do something. And the guy say, like, no, these ain't the ones, man. We better, no problem, senor. So we kind of left, but they was getting ready to throw down. They was going to get thrown down, more or less. Yeah, but that was interesting. So we laughed, said, man, we didn't even get our drink of soda and juice. So, yeah, but I have a lot of good memories like that, traveling with Doc, traveling with Soke. And there was a time, he probably don't want me to tell his story, but no, he want me to tell it. Because I was the victim. So, yeah, we were in Denver, Colorado. It was snowing. There was snow on the roof at the hotel we were at. It was a swimming pool, and it was heated, so it had all this steam coming up. So we said, you know what? We're going to run and jump in the pool and run back in. It was snow on the ground, but we run on the snow, come back in. So Soke does it first. He runs out there. He dives in the pool because he was a lifeguard, extra swimmer. So he swims to that side, comes back, boom, he runs back, boom. Thanks, sugar. He called me. I'm like, outside. I run out there, I used to be a lifeguard too. I come back, he locks the door. He locks the glass door. So I'm out there, I'm stuck, and he leaves. I'm like, man, so I'm trying to see if there's any other way to come in. That was the only way. So I see him there, and he's laughing. I'm saying, so I run back in the pool, I jump in there, and so he opens the door, I come back in. He said, part of the training, Bushido. I said, yes, sir. So that was a good story. But I've had many different times when it wasn't so good. there's a time that I told this story before, but I had just came from doing the security detail at a club back in the day downtown Fulton Street. So I went down to the train station maybe about 3 or 5 in the morning. I don't remember what time it was, but I remember it was cold. It was this guy there, as I was going down, he had a hood on, a big coat and stuff. And he's like this, and he was looking at me. So, I looked at him, and I'm doing it. So he didn't say nothing. He turned his head like, I don't want you to see. So as I started walking, he starts walking, and he does this. You know what that means? That means it's about to go down. He didn't want any witnesses to see what he was about to attempt to do. And there was nobody there. And unfortunately, it wasn't anybody in the train station. Unfortunately for him, because he didn't know what was about to go down. Anyway, I walked to the left, he walks to the left. I walked to the right, he walks to the right. Split up, he split up. Slowed down, so I said, you know what? Let me just go near the wall and let him pass. And I had the water in my pocket, which I was very good at throwing things, like the AMC to the knives and stuff like that. He was close enough where I felt confident that I could hit him in the face, and before he knew what hit him, be up on him. But I didn't have to do that because when I stepped in the room, what he did was he said, he looked around again, he said, yo, you got a match? Like, I guess they didn't say match. And as he goes in here, I see this black handle come out. And I hit this guy, I don't know how many times. In my mind, about 20 times at least. I was in, because he wanted to pull his head was there. So I'm hitting him, I see him kind of head falling. I swept him out. Bam! He hits his head. His eyes go up in his head and start kind of, foaming at the mouth. And I kicked his jacket back. And he had a sawed-off shotgun. Sawed-off shotgun head. Because I emptied it out. I had gloves on. I didn't want to touch it, but I emptied it out. It had two. It was like those bunk shots. And I threw it under like this crate that was there and bunk shots as well. And I looked at the guy and he, he stopped shaking. They're like, now I could have took him out, finished him off. But I went upstairs and or whatever. Okay. The attendant, I told her that some guy down there, I think he just had a fight with some other guys, and somebody looked like they pulled out something. I don't know if it was a stick or whatever, but it was probably cold. The police ambulance that was going on. So I got out of there. I got out of there. And one of my old students, when I told him the story, he said, "Sir, didn't he know who you were?" I said, when I finished, he didn't know who he was. So yeah, I got a bunch of stories, but I don't want to tell them all because I'm still working on that book. Yes. But getting back to what I was saying, though, I mean the country, but the health thing is very important. And, I've taken a serious interest in that because so many people are suffering from diabetes, high blood pressure, and so many different ailments that could possibly be prevented if they do the right things early on. But eating certain foods and even thinking certain points can be destructive to your health.
Yes. And we have a part of this actual podcast is our brother, Master Andrew Reed, who's going to share some health things and things that
yes.
a little bit as well. So it's nice because the health is necessary, and now we're adding it to our podcast here.
Yes. I'm sorry, I just had something blinked up here. Health is your wealth. That's it. And it's not just a saying, it's real. And that's why I always try to encourage martial artists, and especially the teachers, the masters, to realize that not only that, really deal with yourself because you want to be well. You see so many of us so many that are not here now. And, different reasons, but A lot of times it is because of health issues. So while you're here, while you're able to take care of yourself, while you're able to, throw someone, do a few punches, push-ups, you got the energy to take care of yourself. So I try to encourage them and people generally to become more conscious of their health. What are you eating? What are you drinking? How much sleep are you getting? Are you getting your checkups? How are you mentally? Because that's a very important part as well. Mental health. They don't talk about that too much, but that's serious. So, I'm sorry. But yeah, so that's it. I just want to continuously encourage the instructors, and I'm not trying to be I'll just say I'm not trying to be a knucklehead. I'm not trying to tell them what to do. I'm not trying to be the big honcho to tell them you better do this. Or, what I'm trying to do is just motivate people to monitor their health. Do some research. Go online. Read more. We don't read it though. Read more of how you can improve your health. What you are eating. Maybe the effects that it's having on you, which you could be eating to have a more positive effect. So I'm doing a lot of research myself because I can't save the world, but if I can inspire, I'm doing that. I'm living part of my purpose. And part of my purpose is to help others to live a better life. And,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Lastly, I want to ask you this, and then maybe you could show us a little bit, show us around your area. But I want to ask you, I understand that you do magic. I do know that they call your movements magic too. But in terms of do magic tricks. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I've always liked magic from when I was a kid. Obviously little TV shows with magicians pulling the rabbit out of your hat. And I've always been a very creative, imaginative person. So I just, from the first time I saw a little trick, I wanted to learn how to do magic at age 3. At age 4, at 3, I was just wondering, how the heck was I so enthused? Like magic, martial arts, dance, I guess, I don't know, it's the falling of the tree. So yeah, but so as I got older, I would do these little gimmicks, and I, try to prove my uncle and my aunt and so forth. I remember one time they had this nail. It's actually bent, but it wraps around your finger like this, and then you put this Band-Aid on it that looks like blood. It looks like a nail through your finger, right? So I went to my mother, Mommy, I got a nail. It was kind of just wrap it. I didn't think that. But she said, oh, baby, you got the nail. She knows it's trick. She said, come here. Let me pull it out. I know it's going to hurt. She knew it was a trick. She said, come here, baby. And she snatched it off and popped me in my head and said, take your butt in there and clean your room up. So I was about to end my magic then because it was painful lessons to learn. But, with a long story short, I just enjoyed seeing people's amazement when they would look at a magician do different tricks, perform different tricks. I wanted to learn, so I at age, 25, 30, I met a gentleman named Cal, and he lived in California. I was introduced to him by my student, and he was a top magician. He showed me one little trick with the coin. He said, if you get this, when you come back to California next time, I'll show you 3 or 4 more. to him the next day, and I said, watch this. Let me see if I got it. So I did it, but I